Hello everybody and welcome to Transport Fever 2, back on the channel after a very long time, so we're a bit rusty. However, we are going into this game with a plan of action. So the plan is to basically create a working rail system that's going to basically provide multiple towns into thriving cities basically. Obviously we're starting off with absolutely nothing. This is a completely randomly generated map with no mods, no nothing, no pre-changes to it. It is completely random. So we have no idea what we're really getting ourselves into and whether or not we can make things work as well as we're hoping for. But let's give it a go anyway. Now I've picked up this little area here. It is obviously isolated by the rivers here. It gives us chances to get a few bridges in and stuff like that. Obviously there's some small bridges already in. There's also potential for running sea stuff across as well. But for now we're just concentrating on the rail and road system. There's also a chance that we may get some earth system going as well. We're starting in 1850, so we're starting off the really early start of the time. So there isn't much in the way of trains or transport large scale, which is good. We want the challenge. And the first challenge we're going to have is to basically get passengers from one city, or one town I should say, into the next town and back again. And obviously providing these towns with resources to allow them to grow. And we want to try and develop them around our infrastructure. So there may be some bulldozing of buildings and stuff like that as we start getting some money. So let's get into it and let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is, this is the bigger one of the two, and it's also one that requires bread, which is just down the road. And we've got the farms around here as well. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to run a single line down the kind of side of here. We're not going to follow this too much because it may take more money than it requires. Let's go ahead and let's start building some track. Now we're going to want this to come into the town, and I'm going to probably choose this little bit of town here. So actually before we start, let's go ahead and get our passenger station going. So we're already costing ourselves a lot of money. Now I'm going to keep it open-ended because obviously I want to be able to expand on it. It may not expand in the opposite direction, and we may want to change some shape of the town at a later stage. But for now, that's going to do us quite nicely. Right, let's get tracks. What we got here? Tracks with signals. We're obviously going to need some signals at some stage. We're going to need some waypoints as well. But for now, let's go ahead and start building. Okay. Now, the track doesn't actually cost too much money in the grand scheme of things. And I just want this track to basically lead along the road. But obviously, we don't want to bend it too much like the road itself is doing. And it is on a bit of a hill. We want to try and avoid the hill climb, because that takes money to obviously go over the hill, and obviously speed as well. I mean, you can see that the speed's already dropping down, which is not what we need. We need to keep it going as fast as possible. Here we go, and we're just coming into our second town. And again, we're going to need a passenger station here as well. Now, obviously, I want it to go there, but there's collisions because the road is there. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right there. It's slightly off a little bit, and it's not as tidy as I was hoping. Too much curvature, so we may need to go back a little bit. There we go. Let's try again. See if we can get it connected. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we've got our track. It is slightly, I mean, it is quite... There we go. Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted. It is slightly elevated around, and we've cut into the ground a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that at all. On the grand scheme of things, it actually doesn't look too bad. Get a good angle there. So that's the track and the two stations already in place, ready to go. I want to bring the track across the road so it removes the houses already, and obviously it gives us our location for our what should call it, our depot. So we'll go ahead and we'll place our depot on there now. Now obviously this track allows for one way only, or I should say one direction per train only. So you can have one train going up and down, or we can have one train going down and another train going down, but they'll collide in the middle. So it's really is a one track, one train job at the moment. but we've got our ways of getting passengers to it. We obviously want to get ways of getting this material across here, and we're going to use the track to do that. So the next thing I want to do is I want to get myself a second station, which is the cargo station, and I'm hoping we can get it to go in around about here. I think is where we're going to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break the track there. We'll get our cargo station just about there, and hopefully the track should join up nicely. There we go. Perfect. And perfect. So that should all be joined up. It is. So we've now got our way of getting a cargo up and down as well. So we can use the same train to do both. Now the cargo we're going to do is obviously get the wheat from the farms. We've got 2 farms on one side and 1 farm on the other side, which is good for us. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same track to basically go in to each 3. So let's go ahead and set that up now. Buildings. We need our truck station. Let's do it here, be easier first. Truck station. As a matter of fact, we can just unload stop here. So we can set an unload stop here, like so. And we can actually do one on the other side. So we don't actually have to have it where it's basically going to cause our vehicles to have to try and turn around too much, because that's obviously going to cause a time issue. We also don't want to have it too close to the farm, because that's time lost again. So that's, oh, I think that's just gone out of the scope. What does of that? Our vehicle manager, the one I want. Just try that again. There we go. And then we're going to do the same again here. It's going to have to be a little bit closer. There we go. And then the same again here. Get it far out as possible. Okay, so we've got 3 supplies going into one area there. Whilst I'm at it, I'm going to place my, like so. Now, it may be cheaper to actually run a line direct to it, but at the moment we want the one line, because obviously that one line's already bought and paid for, and we don't have to try and produce the second one. However, what we do need is somewhere for us to offload, and we've got a nice little location here we can offload. Obviously, what we want to do is we want to basically set it where the train comes into here, drops off the goods, and then picks up the passengers. We're going to try and set that up, hopefully. Well, let's go ahead and get a second building, and we're going to need our cargo station, and since it's the end of the line for the cargo station, we can just go ahead and that. We'll place it about, try and not have it cost me a fortune. We'll place it there, get some tracks going. Obviously this track's going to join onto this one like so. But it should just connect. I think it actually went over. It did go over, so let's just move. There we go. Let's try and get connect. Go, perfect. That's now going to run into there like so. We obviously need ourselves a unloading point, or a loading point for our vehicles, which I will do like so. And then we're going to need a road. Now, since we're in the early times, we can just get away with running a dirt track for now. That should be connected. That should be connected. Hopefully it'll self-connect itself. Actually, I don't think it will. Let's not 100% sure. Let's just take that off a second. I want to double check, because I have a horrible feeling it may not. Are you gonna allow it to connect? Maybe it needs a road going to. Function not possible. Okay, let's just Let's just get... we can now run... train line. The cargo station can now go... oh, is it going to connect? Ah, there. The connection's at the back of it. Right, that's... still annoying. That's fine. We'll just... take that off there. Place the new track. Connect it. Are you connected? Yes, you are. Perfect. Okay, so now when we place down... ah, there we go. Perfect. A little bit closer. And go all the way down here. Perfect. So we've now got our 2 lines there. So let's start creating some lines. So the first line we need to do is we need to go ahead and create a line. That's going to be production into matter of fact, that's the wrong way around. Branch to south. We want to start at a branch. And where's our line name? So this is going to be bread supply. Why raw? Call it raw because then I know it's the raw resources. Raw. Okay, so that's going to bring it in and it's going to take it back to the station, which it doesn't need to because we want it to go into here. That's the other thing we've forgotten about. Shipping. We don't want shipping. Let's go ahead. Right, so the bread supply is mainly on this side here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rotate into here. We're going to crossroad that. Too much of a problem. Let's just go ahead and get it where it's only taking a couple of buildings out, maybe. Well, that'll do there. Okay, so. Oh. That's. Well, I don't know what my camera was doing there. Okay, so it's going to take it down into here and then into here. So we actually want another line because we don't want our supply getting interrupted trying to get into city. So we've got our new supply. This is going to be bread to Ankara. Bread to Ankara. Now we're on the Asian setting, so we're not in Europe or the USA, so that's why some of the names are a little different to what you may expect. Okay, so that's supplying into there. Perfect. We've not created our line yet to go into there. So the first thing we need to do is obviously create our line. So we want it to, first of all, go into the passenger station. We then want it to bypass the supply. We then want it to drop off the passengers and pick up more passengers. We then want it to pick up the supply. We then want it to drop the passengers off, drop the supply off, and then pick up passengers. Station appears consecutively twice. We're aware of that. So we want to set this to load and unload. So we want it to set it to load only. So we want this to set to, so this is going to pick up, so this, we want it to come in. We want it to, yes, so we want it to load only. So we actually don't need that second one. We want it to come in and we want it to load. Perfect. It then goes down, picks up passengers, loads and unloads. Then it picks up the supplies, comes down, and we want it to unload only. Then going to drop off the supply. Excellent. So our line is now done. Now we need to get our next line for our, so we need this rail. It's our rail line. Right, let's get our next line in. Go. So we want it to go from number 1, and we want it to drop off. And we want it to drop off. Nope, we don't want that one. That's the one I don't want it to do. Or is that the one? We don't need the 2 lines. I don't know why I've done the 2 lines. I'm going to remove one of them. And I want it to go into here. Same line again. Done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to Jakarta West. Jakarta. We can actually remove. Perfect. So I think, apart from the vehicles that we're going to need, which I'm going to set up right now, buildings, we need road depot, and we need just a road depot from the front. The road depot here, and I'm going to set it up opposite this one because this is the first one we want it to supply. Go ahead and set that up there, and then we're going to need a road depot over here as well. We'll put this one here. I'm actually going to place this one next to. Perfect. So we've got our 2 road depots, we've got our rail depot. We now need the vehicles themselves. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now, obviously, it's going to take a while for things to kind of pick up while we're here as well. Let's just. Where's my lines? This is going to be wheat supply. Then we're going to need vehicles. Now I want to do, basically I want to set up 2 for each one. But hopefully we've got enough money for this. We want cargo. We want 143,000. So we're not going to have a massive amount of. So let's go wheat supply for that one. We then need a vehicle from here. And I'm going to just set up 2 for that for now. Go ahead and set that up. We want bread supply raw. We then need another 2. We go. Oh. Bread to Ankara. And we now need our train. Now we've only got 1 train at the moment, which is a Russian class 5 type 1. That's the only one we've got at the moment. We'll go ahead and we'll set that one up. So let's add that one. We're going to need a passenger car, and we're going to need a one for wheat. It'll be a gondola, isn't it? It's a gondola, so we're going to need a gondola as well. Go ahead and set up a couple of gondolas. Now, how much is that? 934,000. Can we get another passenger rail in? Ooh, that's close. Can get another one in. We'll get another gondola in, maybe? No, we can't get another gondola in now. So do we want passenger or do we want bread supply? How many passengers can... They can have 13 passengers. We'll go with that for now. And we'll set that train up to go onto the rail line. Okay, so everything's set up. We've got hardly any money left. So we may lose a little bit of money at the start. Let's go ahead and see how things progress. Now, because these are actually quite small villages, we'll call them villages for now. This may be classed as a town, but it's still quite small. Most of the area is actually covered by our stations. So fingers crossed, we can get a good capture for each of them without actually having to provide any transportation via the road. Okay, let's see how things develop in the small amount of time we've got. So we'll probably set for 1 year for now. So we'll wait until January the 1st, 1851, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I let it run for 2 years because the first year was a complete bust and the second year wasn't much better, to be fair. This is where experience comes into play. The train actually made absolutely no money off passengers, and as you can see, as it's going, it's almost at the little town of Jakarta, and there are still no passengers. It's connected, so it's all about just the demand. There is no demand for passengers at the present moment. Now that might be because we're not supplying anything to the town, So there's hardly any residences really anyway. Now it does say there is no destinations for this, so I'm not 100% sure why. And I think that might be down to maybe not having the transportation, so we'll have a look into that at a later stage. But right now we want to fix our dwindling finances. So let's go ahead and we're going to borrow some money. I'm going to take out about, what was that, another 3,000? Yeah, there's another, 3 million. So we'll take another 3 million. We want to get our train. Now our train is completely empty at the moment, so it's got nothing on it, no supplies or anything. So we'll manage the vehicle. It's still in very good condition. But let's go ahead and we're going to edit the selected vehicle. So I'm going to place the passenger car at the back. I'm going to remove the other one. I'm going to add 4 more gondolas. Now that's going to slow this train right down. This train's going to struggle to pull it really, because when it came back with 2, it was really slow setting off. But we'll get there, and hopefully we'll get a good supply going. Now obviously that's going to, well, it's tripled the amount we can carry now, so hopefully that will there we go, perfect. That will pick up the resources here, and we'll start moving things here as well, because this is actually struggling for supply because there's hardly anything on it. So we'll look into that. Next thing I want to do is obviously look into the transportation side of things on here. So let's go ahead and place a bus tram right here. So we want it to go that way there, and then we want to place one. We'll go ahead and place one. We can actually get almost the whole town in there. We'll just do that there. And because it's a simple line, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to go from here to here, like so. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to call this Jakarta, I think it's spelled. Jakarta bus. Bus to rail. There we go. Jakarta. Yeah, we spelt it right. Excellent. And then we're obviously going to need the same again in Ankara. So we'll go ahead and we'll try and set up a new line. New line. So we're going to want one. The train station. I wonder if that's the problem right there. That train. That is it not connected? Oh, that's why I'm on the wrong setting. I still don't think it's actually connected. It isn't connected, so that's where the issue is right there. Let's go ahead and fix that problem by wiping out an entire neighborhood. We want the road, we want the street, and we're going to go ahead and put the street down like. It's not pretty, but it'll do. Urban. Could have probably done with. Can we upgrade? Upgrade to urban? Oh, that'll do. It's not pretty, but it gets us what we need to do. It's now connected, so I actually missed that connection there, so that's probably why. So I'm going to attempt to see whether that actually fixes the problem. We'll keep the train line in because at the moment there's nothing running on it. Sorry, the bus line, because there's nothing running on it, so it's not going to really cost us anything. And it's now ready to go just in case. That was a slight oversight. We should really have checked that and made sure it was connected, but we missed that one. But let's see how it goes now on its return journey and see if we can actually get some money made out of it. So let's go ahead and skip a bit more time. And welcome back everybody, and just before we finish up this episode, let's have a look on the impact this new train system has basically had on since we made some changes. We can see we are now 13 of 13 passengers. We've just made a full 42 grain delivery or wheat delivery, and we can see now the food processing plant is now taking supply, which is good. We're going to probably need more vehicles on the road to bring that supply down to the production plant. You can see we've got quite a bit of supply in here now. Got 31 there, so that should give us enough. I think we're going to end up having a lot in that depot there before the train gets back and comes back into it. So I think we're going to actually need some more vehicles there. Well, let's have a look financially. Currently, we've actually made a profit, and the train actually came back empty on passengers, but fully loaded on the bread supply. So now that it's actually making its way down with passengers, we should expect to see an increase in our finances. Where is our train at the moment? It is nearly at Jakarta. So we should hopefully see that bump up some price for us. See, these vehicles here have been costing us. These vehicles here have been costing us. There's supply waiting, so we're going to end up paying for the loss of supply. So we need to start thinking about getting some more vehicles in there as well, because obviously the train looks like it's got enough supply to keep it going. Now, it took 42 out of here, and it's got 40 already. By the time that train comes back, it may actually have enough capacity to completely empty this at the moment, so we may need one or two more there. Now, the train has made its delivery of passengers. We're currently in the green, or the blue apparently, so it should be green really. You can see we've got another full 13 passengers heading over to Ankara. We've got a couple of groups here. We've got 11 waiting for Jakarta, so we may need to start thinking about bringing in another passenger train carriage if that number starts increasing, because obviously we lose money for people waiting around, and obviously the more we can carry the better it is. But at the moment we've got 11 there, and that's pretty decent. So that extra line we put in wasn't required, which is good for us. And you can see the train has made it through to its next point, coming in now, and it is a little bit slow to setting off from its supply line in Lower Jakarta. Let's have a look. It is a little bit slow, as I say, setting off only 14 kilometers an hour. It is a bit of a climb for it. Unfortunately, that's just because we placed it in such an angle on a hill. We could have probably resolved that with a little bit of a build, but we can look into that at a later stage. It does make it up, so that's the important thing, and it is completely full. How much is already in there already? So we've got 22 already in there. So I think this supply area here is actually good enough for what we need until we have a better train or multiple trains, which is what we're going to go into hopefully sooner rather than later. We're already in 1854 going on to 1855, so we're already 5 years down. A new train should come off the market soon, and as I say, we'll finish off this episode once the other train gets into that station, just to see if we can pull out some profit and see how it's going to affect us in this area here. I do think we're going to certainly need some more vehicles for the supply, this raw supply. Ankara is getting a supply of bread, not much, 10% increase. That's not too bad at the moment. It's also got a destination for our people as well, which should hopefully increase things here as well once it gets up and down. There we go, residents are going up, 142, perfect. We have a 20% growth at the moment. So we should be expecting 158 target population, which is good for us. Okay, so it's dropped off the 13 passengers. Wasn't too much money, but it has made that trip basically almost pay for itself. Once it delivers the raw resources in, that should hopefully give us the majority of the profits. Let's see how that does. Here it comes into the next station. There we go, 217,000. So we should hopefully, we're just on the cusp of our earnings here, so we may need to look at let's see how many passengers, how many lots of passengers. So we've only got 11 passengers there, and we've got 25 there, so we actually do have capacity for possibly another train. So let's just manage the vehicle while we're at it. Let's adjust it. Let's place another. Perfect. As I say, it's not the best train for the job, but it is going to do the job for now. Whilst we're also here, let's buy a couple more cargo vehicles. So let's buy 4 more cargo vehicles, and we'll place we'll place 2 for our bread supply raw. Bread supply raw. And the other two to Bread to Ankara. So hopefully we should see an increase on both. So that's us for this episode. As you can see, we've got things rolling. We are losing a bit of money at the moment. Hopefully we can adjust that by doing a few other bits and pieces. The idea of this is to basically get this rail line built up and going. So we can expand on it. That single track will more than likely become a multi-track, so it'll be one going one direction, one going the other direction, and it'll obviously break off where it needs to go to various different places. There's a lot of supply around us at the moment. You can see here we've got the mines here that can deliver into the steel mill. So obviously we're going to need two iron. There's 2 iron ore and 2 coal. Create 1 steel. So we're going to need iron. We're going to need the iron ore and we're going to need the coal. There's a coal just across the water there, and there's a coal just there. Now what we can do is, there's actually 2 there. So what we may do is we may actually just put in another stop here, bring it onto the track, deliver it into here. It can then drop into here. These 2 will probably go by road. And we've got another supply. So we'll look into the steel mill at a later stage. As a matter of fact, we could probably get in a road steel mill for now, because this here needs tools and bricks, which isn't a requirement for steel. So this is thinking ahead of the game when it comes to things like goods and stuff like that we want to look at a later stage. Right now we're going to need the tool factory. We're going to need the wood. Turn into a take into a sawmill to then supply the tool factory, and the tool factory then to provide Jakarta. Same thing for here. This will be a simple trip into here, and then that should grow that town. But as you can see, that town at the moment has the majority of the passengers moving up to our bigger town. So a lot to do, a lot of progress made on our first attempt. I am kind of upset that the time does go quite fast on standard. I will probably look at doing another series with the time set much slower via a mod that I had on the first game, so we can actually enjoy the old school stuff and the challenges that it brings to it before the new tech comes in. But that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I know it's a bit of a longer one, but it's the start of the first episode of the series. And I want to hear your thoughts, comments, and questions on the series moving forward. Remember, it's been a very long time since I played the first game. I didn't touch very much onto this newer Transport Fever 2, which I'm looking forward to getting into. I've had it on my desk for quite a while now, and we're going to hopefully develop something from it. Until next time, everybody, take care for now, and I shall see you all on the next one. Bye bye for now.